Once upon a time, in the peaceful area of Paco City, there lived two married couples. This part of the city was far from the noise of the main town. These couples lived in small rented rooms, their doors directly opposite each other. Every morning, as the sun began to rise, the two wives, Cynthia and Anita, would open their doors and greet each other with warm smiles. Their homes were so close that they didn't even have to step outside to see one another. Cynthia and Anita were the best of friends. Their friendship had blossomed long before they got married, and now they found themselves living as neighbors. It seemed like destiny had brought them together. Anita gave birth first, to a beautiful baby girl, bringing immense joy to her home. The little one was cherished by both parents and became the center of their world. As the years went by, Anita welcomed 3 more children into her family, each one bringing more happiness and laughter. Their days were filled with the sounds of little giggles and the chaos of a growing family. Meanwhile, Cynthia watched with a mix of joy and longing. She was happy for her friend but couldn't help but feel a little sadness. While Anita was blessed with her children, Cynthia remained childless. She had always dreamed of being a mother, but that dream had not yet come true. The happiness in Anita's life was a constant reminder of what Cynthia deeply desired. As time passed, the close friendship between Cynthia and Anita began to change. The two had once spent hours together, sharing stories and dreams. Now, Anita was often preoccupied, juggling the demands of motherhood and managing a growing household. She had little time to spend with her friend, and Cynthia felt the distance growing between them. Cynthia found herself struggling with feelings of jealousy. It was hard for her to watch Anita's life full of children and joy while she remained childless. Each time she heard the laughter of Anita's children from across the way, it deepened the ache in her heart. At first, Cynthia tried to push her feelings aside. She knew she should be happy for Anita, but the bitterness inside her grew every day. Anita, on the other hand, began to sense the change in their friendship. She noticed how Cynthia no longer dropped by like she used to and how, whenever they saw each other, there was an uncomfortable silence between them. Anita thought about it one afternoon as she rocked her youngest child to sleep. It's like Cynthia is keeping her distance, she wondered to herself. One day, as Cynthia was sweeping the front of her home, she noticed Anita's husband, Papa Shima, walking down the path with a beautiful white bundle in his arms. Curious, she watched as he approached his door and handed it to Anita, who received it with joy. Cynthia's heart sank as she saw the happiness on her friend's face when she opened the gift, a gorgeous wrapper with vibrant colors that Anita had always admired. Cynthia felt a pang of jealousy. Why couldn't my husband do something like that for me, she thought. That evening, when Cynthia's husband, Ade, returned home from his workshop, she couldn't hold back her frustration. Why can't you buy me nice things like Papa Shima buys for Anita? Look at how he makes her feel special, she said, her voice tinged with anger. Ade, exhausted from a long day of work, sighed. Why are you disturbing me, Cynthia? You know I'm doing my best. Besides, you didn't give me any children. How can you expect me to buy gifts like Papa Shima does for Anita? Cynthia felt her cheeks flush with anger and hurt. That's not fair, Ade. Just because we don't have children doesn't mean I don't deserve to be treated with love and care. Listen, Cynthia, Ade said, shaking his head. People are already calling me Ade, the man with no children. Do you think I want to hear that? I'm reminded every day of what we don't have. Please, just let me be. Cynthia's heart ached as she listened to his words. She felt alone and frustrated, and now his words made her feel even smaller. One day, while Anita was washing clothes, she asked Cynthia for a favor. If it starts raining, could you help me bring in the laundry, she requested. Cynthia nodded, but when dark clouds gathered later that day and heavy rain poured down, Cynthia stayed inside, ignoring the wet clothes hanging outside. When Anita returned home and saw the soaked laundry, she felt frustrated and overwhelmed. I asked Cynthia to help me, she thought angrily. Without hesitation, Anita marched over to Cynthia's door and knocked loudly. When Cynthia opened it, her expression was a mix of surprise and confusion. "I asked you to help me bring in the clothes if it started raining, but you didn't do anything," Anita exclaimed. Cynthia crossed her arms, a defensive look on her face. "Is it my fault that you left your clothes outside? You should have known better than to leave them out in the open." Anita felt a wave of hurt. "You used to be my friend, Cynthia. I thought you would help me when I needed it." "Friend?" Cynthia said coldly. "I don't see how I am responsible for your decisions. If you wanted to keep your clothes safe, you should have thought ahead." From that moment, the bond between them was irreparably damaged. The friendship that had once been a source of joy and support had turned into a distant memory. Years passed, and Anita's household continued to thrive. Her 5 children filled the compound with laughter and energy, while Cynthia watched from her window, torn between happiness for Anita and the familiar ache of jealousy that had lingered over the years. The silence between the two women deepened. Their husbands exchanged polite greetings, but the warmth and closeness that had once defined their relationship were gone. Cynthia's longing for children remained a constant pain in her life. Desperate for a solution, she confided in a friend who suggested visiting a native doctor. Although skeptical, Cynthia agreed, hoping for a miracle. The native doctor claimed that Cynthia's childlessness was caused by Anita's supposed use of spiritual means to exchange her womb. He offered Cynthia a solution, a potion that would allegedly reverse the curse. Desperate, Cynthia followed his instructions, pouring the potion on the slippers of Anita's children at midnight. But nothing happened. Days turned into weeks, and Anita's family remained unaffected. The children continued to laugh and play, their joy a stark contrast to Cynthia's growing despair. One day, Anita noticed a strange smell coming from her children's slippers. Concerned, she confronted Cynthia, who denied any involvement. But Anita's suspicions grew. Determined to uncover the truth, Anita stayed up one night and caught Cynthia in the act, pouring the potion on the slippers. The confrontation that followed was explosive, but it also marked a turning point. Anita chose forgiveness, recognizing Cynthia's pain and desperation. Over time, the two women began to rebuild their friendship, learning to support each other through life's challenges. Their story became a lesson in the power of compassion and the importance of addressing pain with love rather than envy. And though the journey was long and fraught with difficulty, Cynthia eventually found peace, and the bond between the two women became stronger than ever before. Want more folktale story like this? Click the subscribe button and comment what you learned. See you in my next video.